Hi guys, Saturday evening, doing a little video on the cryptocurrencies. Haven't done one in several days. I think it was since Wednesday. A lot has happened since in the general markets and in the crypto markets. I will start by looking at the Nasdaq, and actually I'm going to also look at the DAX, believe it or not, the German stock market, and then we'll move on to Bitcoin. So starting off with the Nasdaq, we had a nice bounce. We did foresee a bounce around this ascending line. That's what happened in the general markets. Now, Nasdaq is the one most correlated to the cryptocurrencies, so that's why I'm only going to look at the Nasdaq for the US markets. Um, I think we are likely to go a little higher, at least on Monday. I still think the general thesis is that we sort of go sideways to up and then eventually lose this ascending support and go lower. Okay, that's the general markets, but the Nasdaq sort of dictates crypto, at least Bitcoin, and general crypto direction. So I'm not sure how much higher it's going to go next week. I think we've got 4.5% until we get to this next sort of resistance, not just this candle here, but it will also by then I mean by the time it gets there in 2 or 3 trading days, we'll start hitting our head against this descending trending line. So expect resistance around this circle. If we do break through it, I don't think it'll be in one day. And then there's an immediate second resistance, which would also indicate the failed breakout. Sometimes you break out of these zones, everyone sees the same trend lines, but then just immediately above, there's a bit of a fake out. So I think that's what this second zone will be. So on around 320 on the NASDAQ, 320 to 325, let's say. And then up here, 330 to 335. This will be 2 areas of resistance. And I don't think we're going to break it actually. Let's see what happens. We could just sort of touch it, go down, and then just flush this, ascending support wherever we're going to be by then. And then test 290 again. And then, well, I think generally we're going down, recession, everything. I've covered the macroeconomics and the geopolitics reasoning behind why I think we're going lower. So Nasdaq, I think we could test higher, especially at the beginning of the week. I don't know how much higher. It could just be a little bit. And if we never, if we don't test 320 very quickly, it would just be another lower high, and then yeah, like I said, lower. So that's the Nasdaq. It did have a nice close on Friday, and the weekly candle looks good, which is significant. That's why I really do think we'll have a bit of a follow through on Monday. Um, but yeah, that's what I see. The pennant is very tight, so the trading range is very tight. So now and we're in the middle of no man's land. So I mean, when you're up here, it's probably more reasonable to take a small short position. When we're down here, maybe a small long position for a quick bounce if you want to have a quick day trade. But right now, we're kind of in no man's land with the bias towards the upside. That's the Nasdaq. The DAX also had a nice strong close, and it would have probably been higher if it stayed open for as long as the US markets did. Now if we zoom in, we had a sort of breakout on the 50-minute chart. This is a nice continuation, but this one, now my favorite chart pattern to trade is actually a breakout of a downtrend line like this. So imagine you sort of go sideways, you hit your head, it goes a bit lower, and then pops out. I would buy that. That's sort of guaranteed move to the next resistance point. Nice quick, usually 5% trade if you're in a small stock, a small cap, for example. However, I think the DAX is weaker than the Nasdaq and all the other US markets. If we, and we'll probably trade up also on Monday, at least initially in the German markets, and the US markets will also do the same thing, I think. But if we sort of go around here and don't really venture higher than this last 13,375, let's call it, and then we start to roll over, I mean, this is going to be one of the worst looking charts ever. I mean, if we don't touch this downtrend line, it's just going to be lower highs, and then we're coming to a quadruple flush, not just of this 1, 2, 3, 4, and by then 5, but also this ascending line, which must be significant. Otherwise, I wouldn't have drawn it. Yeah, hitting 1, 2, 3, 4 over several years. I mean, this comes back from 2016. I know we have this little flush here, but this is the March 2020 Corona crazy moment. And if we ignore that, and we can also see it acted as resistance when it came back up. But if we ignore that, we see it is significant. It's a credible trend line to me. So if we don't venture too much higher and we start to roll over the DAX, and I've said this before, I think the DAX could lead all the markets lower, the US markets. So that's why I want to show the DAX. And this is supposed to be a cryptocurrency video, so you may think it's a bit strange to be talking about the DAX, but the Nasdaq and the DAX to some extent will have an influence definitely on Bitcoin. So let's go to Bitcoin just quickly. Had a very strong day on, was it Thursday? I think it was Thursday. Sorry, Friday. Well, Thursday leads into Friday, depending on which part of the world you're in, but very strong day. So, and a bit of continuation over the weekend. I don't think we're going to see anything crazy on Sunday. I think it needs, like I've said already, it takes its direction from the general market. So, the markets had a nice bounce, therefore crypto had a nice bounce, and we're just probably going to hold this zone above 21,000 but below 22,000 until Sunday night, and then we'll see what happens with the general markets. Now, although it was a nice move, and I think it was 10% on the day or something, we're only back down to where we were before when we started to lose the ascending support. So we're sort of, we moved lower, we bounced, we're up here, but that's also what the markets did. So, and we can see this descending support also. So all sort of looks the same as the general markets. If we do take out this downtrend line, we'll then test 25,000. And that's where, again, you can expect some resistance because it failed last time. And it failed last time pretty miserably because all the other markets were really making, and I'm talking about the SPY, the Nasdaq, the Dow, the Russell, all the markets were just, screaming higher. People started turning bullish at the top as usual. But, Bitcoin was really weak. It just wasn't doing any new highs, really, just sort of failing around 24, 25,000. So I expect a lot of resistance around there. That's if we can get there, because to get there, we need to take out this descending line. And for that, we have to see what the general markets do. So I wouldn't be bullish here, but I wouldn't be bearish until I see the general stock markets come down. So I don't know, it's interesting. I thought we actually would test 17,000, but when the markets didn't flush, then it was obvious that it was going to turn around. So let's see. For me, it's also kind of in no man's land. I wouldn't take a position. I don't have a position. I have a bit of a crypto miner, which I wish I added to more down here. But I'm not going to sell that unless we really scream higher. I'm just looking to add that. So Bitcoin can go either way. Usually I like to have an actual definitive answer to what I think is going to happen, but to be honest, it's a bit of an unknown for me at the moment. I would just watch the general markets. Well, I mean, obviously, if we take out 22,000, we'll run to 23 very quickly, but that's where we'll find resistance, the first serious resistance, I think. But it probably needs the markets to be up for that too. So between 23 and 25 should be quite a lot of resistance. That's Bitcoin. Ethereum, on the other hand, stronger, of course. Everyone knows that. This one doesn't need much at all to go to its old high, and you can see a lot less resistance, whereas Bitcoin was failing at 25,000 every time it tested it. This one was making new highs every time it was, sort of surging up. And here we've got a sort of 13% move until we hit 2,000, nice round number. And by then we would have taken out this downtrend line, which is more credible than the one I've got for Bitcoin, because this one really does touch the top wicks. So for me, Ethereum is much stronger. I'd definitely be trading Ethereum, although the mine I own mainly holds Ethereum. So I am kind of in Ethereum to some extent. But yeah, if the markets are up, Ethereum will test 2,000. And then, well, then you're going to get a bit of resistance. But yeah, it could, if the crypto world wants to go higher after its next level up, Ethereum will definitely surge, in my opinion. It's very strong. It's come back to test its old support that it lost down here. and then it's going to break out of it, and it's a very strong chart. And then I don't know, it'll probably go to 2,400, maybe test this old ascending support on the way up. So by then, 2,800, wherever we are, we'll see by then. But Ethereum is stronger than Bitcoin, definitely, and the chart is very bullish compared to Bitcoin. So if you do want to trade on the long side, you're probably going to have a better chance with Ethereum. So with that said, let's look at the dollar. That also has an effect. Now the dollar has lost its immediate support. So the 15-minute chart, you can see hitting it multiple times, and then we lost it. And on this day, I said, look, we've closed below the ascending support, and obviously we dropped since then. I'm not too sure how much the dollar has an effect on the cryptocurrencies. I think not that much, but it does have an effect on commodities, on the markets, and well, interest rates also correlate with them. So it's just worth keeping an eye on the fact that the dollar, which has been on a tear for ages, has may have a bit more downside until it finds support. And I feel like that downside is around 107, 106, and it's still in a hyper bullish mode, even if it goes down to there. But I think a drop in the dollar could help equity prices to sort of risk on play. So therefore, it would help Bitcoin. If it does help or hinder, I think it helps. I don't think it helps too much, but it's on the helpful side. So that's also slightly bullish for the cryptos. Let's look at interest rates. Now, interest rates going up means stock prices, market prices generally going down. Unlike the dollar, these rates are still going higher. Now, the most important ones are the 2s, the 2-year, which closed at a new high. They're all kind of important. The 5 is quite important. The 10, which is flagging around here, not at new highs, but still not too far off. And then you have the 30, which is flagging towards the top. So just watch out that if this starts to go higher, then you could see general markets just going lower, and therefore the cryptocurrencies also going lower. So watch out with that. Finally, the actual crypto miners. Now, this sometimes signals future price expectations for the crypto world, a bit like gold miners, silver miners. Sometimes they'll move up and then the metal will move up. So sometimes the crypto miners will move up and then the cryptocurrencies will move up. In this case, they're kind of acting in tandem. They're sort of fully correlated. So the miners are not leading the crypto in any way, but still they're reacting very well. And I think the percentage moves you can get out of these are more than the cryptocurrencies. I'm not talking about the crazy altcoins that can go 100%, but these can have very nice moves. So the one I own is HIVE. I've been a great fan of HIVE because I've had a great history trading HIVE, and it's got some nice determined price levels. And I don't know, for me, lots of reasons why I like HIVE. It's also fundamentally a good company. The CEO I like, not that I know him personally. So yeah, HIVE had a nice bounce. But anyway, they've all got very nice, nice moves to test their highs, sort of 50% on HIVE. If I move down to, let's see, Mara, for example, that's made it already a bit more of a move. 30% to test its old highs. So this would correlate to Ethereum getting to 2,000, Bitcoin getting to 25,000. So these are nice moves. RIOT, for example, another one of the major ones. You can see how nice this. I mean, 24% is done in one day for these. So very strong moves here. You can see this one bounced nicely on its support. I really wish I'd added more. I wanted to add to HIVE, but maybe I want to disperse my funds across different crypto miners just to be on the safe side. My favorite are Mara, RIOT, and HIVE, but also there are these sort of backup ones, HUT and Bitfarm, that I'd probably go to if they're lagging. See, 50% for HUT, I'd probably buy that if I really wanted to chase it. And finally, Bitfarm is probably more I mean, if Bitcoin's going to go to 25,000 and take it out, and Ethereum's going to go to 2,000 and pierce that and move up, these kind of have to go all the way up here. So a 50% move in probably a week is not out of the realm of possibility. So yeah, obviously this depends on crypto. Crypto depends on the Nasdaq. Nasdaq is affected by the dollar, but mainly interest rates and even the DAX. The DAX depends on the Ukraine war and the energy crisis and maybe some internal politics. Lots of moving parts, but there you go. You sometimes have to look at several charts and keep your eye on the upcoming news, events, geopolitics, etc., etc. But yeah, I hope this was of use. So thank you for joining.